Welcome, everyone, to Chirping Zebras, episode 100. We hit the century mark. Mark Riley, virtually alongside Gino Bender Jr. and Josh Dolan. And we want to thank our sponsors right off the hop, the Referees Crease. And Gino has that logo right behind him today.
For some reason, the zebra won't come up.
All right. Well, we love the Referees Crease, too. One-stop shop for all your refereeing needs, from scheduling and development to paying and all the things you need. Referees Crease is your one-stop shop for all that. Also want to thank Damon Financial, LLC. For over 24 years, Damon Financial has helped families and business owners grow and protect their wealth with clear, trusted strategies from retirement planning and investments to tax-efficient solutions. They deliver no-nonsense advice focused on your goals. You can give them a call at 508-321-2101 today to schedule your meeting with Damon Financial or visit them at damonfinancial.com. Also, want to remind you to like and subscribe on YouTube and also follow us on all the social medias, the Instagram, the Facebook, and, of course,
the TikTok. The TikTok.
Gino's on a 5-second delay because he doesn't want to swear in the first 5 minutes.
I heard him say it.
Oh, you did? Oh, maybe it's my maybe it's my thing. I didn't hear it right away. All right. And also want to let you know on our website, chirpingzebras.com, our online store is up, running, and full of products, shirts, sweatshirts, hats. We got it all out there. So please check that out. And if you want to get your zebra gear, you should do so. And, sport that around town. It's a great logo. And thank you to Josh, who designed that. And, episode 100, cool to begin with. But to have the legend that we had on today for episode 100, just incredible.
Yes. It was awesome.
Yeah, Brian Burke. Brian Burke, GM. I mean, he's been involved with hockey forever. Played, the GM, Hall of Famer. We were at his USA Hockey Hall of Fame induction.
How'd you sneak into that?
Well, my father bought a table, so
yeah, we were on scholarship.
So, he needed someone to fill the seats.
Yes.
That's how he gets his friends.
Yeah,
hey, I bought a table. Okay.
Yeah, that's how we that's how we got in there, and that was a cool night too because Brian Murphy got inducted too.
Yes.
Yep. And Joe Bertagna was recognized as well.
Tanya.
Yeah, I told I know I always say it wrong. He told the bird story that he told here.
Oh, yeah, we didn't bring it up with him. Yeah, we should have. That was funny.
The zebras.
Burke commented, "What kind of person kills a bird?"
You're one sick individual. Someone like Brian Burke, I mean, what he's meant to the NHL, not only as a GM, but he spent many years as the director of hockey operations and the head of discipline for the NHL.
Yeah, I mean,
he's done it all.
I was trying to think of a good word for him, like the godfather of but that's too much because that's, I don't know. He's just hockey royalty, maybe.
There you go.
Oh, I would say hockey royalty for sure. Not only what he's done, in his GM roles and winning the cup with Anaheim, what he's done for women's hockey and the PWHL, and really getting behind that and making that league what it is, today, as opposed to what it was when like Gigi Marvin played, where, you didn't have all the bells and whistles that most pro hockey teams have.
Right.
So, so just an honor to have this guy on, Hall of Famer, Stanley Cup winner, all around great guy. And we want to thank Frank Simonetti for making the connection, as he was Frank's first agent. So we appreciate Frank.
Yes. Thank you, Frank.
Yep.
Appreciate all your support with the show and all the connections you made. It's yeah, we owe a lot of thanks to you. So appreciate it.
Yeah, Frank's awesome. Huge fan of, and supporter of the podcast, so we appreciate that. We also want to throw a shout out to AOA Studios as well, even though we're on the interwebs today. They do such great work when we're in studio, and we'll be back there soon. So without further ado, let's get to our conversation on episode 100 with hockey royalty, Mr. Brian Burke.
I believe that is a zebra on the ice, Bill.
How did he get on the ice?
Amazing. They still can't get him off the ice. This is crazy. Here comes all the zebras. It's a zoo out there.
You can't do that. Doesn't matter. Get in the box.
Welcome everyone to Chirping Zebras. Maybe we'll all embrace the zebra side.
All right.
Perfect.
We can start whenever. Yeah, so we're just gonna do the intro and stuff after. And but yeah, you guys are good to go.
All right. And Brian, when we're done, when I say, thank you for coming on, we're just going to stay on for a minute so that everything uploads. And it doesn't take long. Josh will let us know that everything's good.
Not my first rodeo, Mark.
All right.
Really?
We've done this before.
You've done everything before, so that's
True.
right. All right. Here we go. Brian Burke, welcome to Chirping Zebras. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you on, for real.
Thank you. I was in charge of the referees for 5 years when I worked at the NHL. I was their boss when I was director of hockey operations with the NHL. So great group of guys.
Yes, I worked in the East Coast League under Brian Lewis, who was a former director of officials there in the National Hockey League. He was great to work for.
Brian Lewis was in charge of the officials day to day when I was the senior vice president. He is a great guy, wonderful man.
Yeah, he comes in the room and he tells you, hey, if you know the rules and you apply them, I can back you. If you don't, I can't back you. I can't support you. So it's up to you to know the rules and apply them accordingly. So, he was good. And, I remember training camp, he opened that book, we read it cover to cover to make sure we covered it.
And I remember one year Brian was in charge of assignments, and Billy McCurry was the best referee in the NHL for a lot of years. And we had good referees. He wasn't alone, but he was the best. And your pay scale, your salary for the year was based on 80 games or 82 games, just like a player. Poor Billy McCurry, we had him flying all over it the last 2 weeks of the season. He'd get overtime, but he'd do one night in Colorado, next night in Boston, next night in California, wherever there was a hot spot, because he was such a top guy.
Absolutely. As long as the check didn't bounce, I'm sure he'll go. Right?
And that was back with one referee, two linesmen. So he was skating every night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And those were wars, too.
Your skates on the plane back then, too.
I worked for Andy Van Hellemond when I was in the East Coast League.
Good guy. Good referee, too.
Yeah, he was great to learn from. He was the best for a long time, and he taught me a lot about how to handle communication, which we always say is probably the most important thing when it comes to refereeing.
Well, that was Billy McCurry's one battle I had with him. He did not like talking to the officials. He felt he was a referee, not a teacher. And he talked to them after games sometimes, but he didn't like talking to them during the games. Say, Bill, you can calm everything down if you just go over and bark at both benches. He said, I'm not a school teacher. I'm not a referee. I'm a referee.
I worked with his son in the USHL and then some college hockey. Like he was an unbelievable communicator. Like he diffused stuff like you read about just because the pedigree he came from, and it was like just awesome to watch. Like a coach going crazy and then him just diffusing it and skating away, and the coach is smiling.
A good guy.
Yeah. So Brian, I mean, you've had that position as an official, and then you were a president, GM, all that. And I sit as a supervisor of officials for Atlantic Hockey in Division One, and typically Saturday, Sunday mornings, you're dealing with Friday, Saturday night, games and situations and all that kind of stuff. Were you one to call in the league when something as a president or a GM on like a Saturday or a Friday night, or what was like the worst thing you called in the league for, or were you one to call in if official missed a call or situation?
I learned at the knee of the late great Pat Quinn, wonderful man. And Pat hated referees. He would call into the league, not so much when he was coaching, obviously, but after. And so I resolved when I went to the league and went to my first team in Hartford, I was not going to call the league until the next morning until there was something really problematic. So I was not a yeller or a screamer, mainly because I watched other people do it, and I don't think it works.
Like I find best, like I have our coaches call us the next day. After the game, it's emotional and all that kind of stuff. So, usually the next morning, sipping over coffee and you have a conversation, and it's more like, hey, what can we do better, or what happened, and from the referee sight line, or this is what the referee saw, and this is how they executed it, and this is what they should have done, and because it's not a perfect science. Like we can't perfect the game, and you strive for perfection, but you can't do it.
Well, not only do you calm down, but you get a better look at it too.
Right.
So to me, it's like you write a screw you letter to someone. I always let those sit overnight before I mail them. Or I send, Mark Riley, you're a dishonest son of a bitch. I hate you. Okay, Mark, we can disagree on this one. Have to write down. I think that's smart.
Gino and I were fortunate enough to be at your USA Hockey Hall of Fame induction. And my favorite part of the speech, and I love him, Paul Stewart. He was actually our first guest here on the Zebras. My favorite part of your speech was when you said he's a horseshit ref, but a great guy.
Because I tried to say one of my most embarrassing moments in pro hockey was I tried to fight Stewie in a game, and he went right around me, just ignored me. He wanted to fight the late great Hammer, we called him. I'm drawing a blank. I'll come up with it. But I went to fight him, and Stewie ran around me because his orders were to fight someone else.
Sounds like Stu.
I was so embarrassed, and the coach, Bob McCammon, was yelling at me. What are you, afraid of him? I said I grabbed him. I grabbed him and squared off with him like we were going to fight. So he just went around me.
That sounds like Stu. What? Now, the refereeing in the NHL now is a lot different than back in the day with one referee, two linesmen. And the way they're finding refs is a lot different, pulling players out of the American League and Europe. What's your opinion on kind of where the NHL refereeing is right now, as far as compared to back in the day when you had the McCrearys and the Van Hellemons and the Frasers and guys that everyone knew and knew what they were getting?
Most of those guys played up to at least junior C and some to junior B. Most of those guys had playing backgrounds, like Billy McCreary, Kerry Fraser. They played up to a certain level. Cole, all those guys played up to a certain level. So I think the league, Mr. Gregory started it going after former players and approaching them. That was 30 years ago. It took a while. We started to get more guys. I think if you have played to a certain level, you have a better feel for it. There are a number of guys who haven't played to a certain level and still are good referees. I think in general, if you have a playing background to a certain point, you don't have to play in the NHL or the AHL. But if you played, even up to junior hockey, you have a feel for how the game is played. Refereeing in the NHL is the best it's ever been. With two referees, it's much less work. They see more. They huddle more. Replay's better. It's all better.
Now, replay is something that's discussed a lot. What's your feel on replay? Because back in the day, there wasn't replay. Now it's pretty extensive. Some guys love it. Some guys, think it slows it down. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, we all fought replay. All sports did. Football fought it. Baseball fought it. We fought it. The NBA fought it. We all fought it because we thought it would delay the game And the most important customer is the person who bought a ticket to that game. Most important person in that game is not the person on TV. It's the person at the game who paid $400 and is sitting in the Golds in Toronto, and he doesn't want to sit and watch a replay for 8 minutes, 9 minutes. So that's why we all resisted it. But it's coming gradually, and I think it's, without being too intrusive, we have some replays that are too long. I think there should be a time limit, not in the finals, but any other time. If you can't resolve it by 2 minutes, always make the call on the ice. You know, I say to the referee, what's your call before we look at replay? What is your call? What are you going to call if the replay goes down? If we lose power, what are you going to call? So there's a call on the ice. It's made. They all agree on it, and now we're going to look at it. If they can't come up with a meaningful resolution within 2 minutes, the call on the ice stands for me.
I like that.
Play's been terrific.
No, I agree. I agree. We coach our officials not to go running into the replay booth, you know, because like in college hockey, you can get yourself in the booth to go look at a play. It doesn't have to be challenged, and it's only a timeout risk for the first one for coaches. I think it should be a minor penalty, but you know, we teach our guys to referee the game, and you know, if you have a minor penalty in the ice, force the coach to challenge it. Don't go in and start second guessing yourself. That's what you saw. Keep it a minor, right? And if you have a major, go in and confirm your call and get out. But we don't want to be running in and force the coach to challenge it because, like, we're human, right? And things happen quick.
I agree.
Yeah, and that just happened in the Canadiens game with Martin St. Louis losing his mind because did you see that one where Foligno got tripped, or he didn't get tripped, he tripped on the blue line? And
well, here's another question too, right? Well, the video on the bench, right? So Martin St. Louis sees that right away, and now he can lose his mind when the referees only have one shot on it. And like what's your take with that video instantly coach referee relationship? I think it's actually hurting it a little bit because they're seeing it, and then they have the answers to the test where the referees don't.
Well, they have better replays than the coaches do, though. They've got the Hawkeye. They actually better look at most things than the coach does. So Marty St. Louis, I saw the replay, losing his mind. We've all done it. I think if you ask Marty the next day, he'd say, wish he'd calmed down a little bit and looked at it again.
With replay, my biggest thing is, and I love getting the call right, but when there's a close offside and the rush ends and the defensive team gets possession and they have a chance to clear it and they don't, and then a minute later a goal scored and they challenge it. What do you think about that? Because I just think if it's not scored on the rush, then it should end there.
It's so rare, Mark. I don't have a problem with it because it happens once every 20 games, maybe. I think I want to get as much right as possible. I do think we have linesmen blowing off sides on a preventive basis, a precautionary basis, because they're not sure. That's a mistake. I think just make the call. If you made a mistake, you can live with it. If it's scored on, you can go back and challenge, but make the right call. I think we have defensive whistleblowing right now on offsides.
I agree with you. I mean, it's because when you work with it and you have that cushion of that secondary factor in it, it's only human nature to rely on it, and you got to go out there and act like, hey, the camera's down today, and I gotta be on and make sure you get every call, because you can't relax for 1 second, and especially how fast that game is. Like, you got to be on it.
But that literally is my only complaint. I do think the two referees works well. The guys don't have to skate so much; they get a better look at things. I do think we still call too many penalties. My one criticism of officiating is there's too much, especially the first call. We used to harp on the guys to get the first call right.
Mm-hmm.
You get the first call wrong, or it's a ticky-tack call. Happened in the Leafs game the other night. Power play scored on a ticky-tack call. Now the referees feel they got to score, even the score at some point, and the whole game descends into a series of questionable calls. Not bad calls, but soft calls. And so I used to tell the guys, get the first call right. The first call has to be a call that everyone in the building agrees, even if they even if they're Leaf fans. You have to agree. Everyone in the building has to agree that call stands. Then you're starting on a good foundation. But the first ticky-tack call, once you do that, you start down a swamp.
Absolutely. Once you lose the trust in the building and the players and the coaches, it's tough to gain that back. And you just hope for a couple easy ones right away just to gain it in, and then you let a couple of good ones go, and hopefully the game takes care of itself. But yeah,
And
once you call a ticky tack one, it's tough to rein it in.
yeah, you're right. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
And
no, you're
Brian
good.
say to me all the time and tell the referees, don't look for penalties. Don't look for calls. Don't manufacture a call in your own mind. See it. If it's a call, call it. Make the call. Don't look for penalties. Just watch for them.
Part of my pregame speech: let the game come to you. Don't go looking for it.
Yep.
One thing that we've discussed, and I've discussed it with a few different officials. So, with two referees out there, something happens and one referee sees a hook, the other referee is sure it's not. Picking up the flag, it's a slippery slope. But with two guys out there, is it something that we should be kind of considering?
I've seen it a couple times where they waved off a penalty. I don't mind it because I want to get it right. I want to get as much right as possible. I don't like the fact consistently one referee says that was not a call. I'm overruling you. Don't like picking up the flag as a rule. But that again is very rare in the NFL. I only see them pick up a flag maybe once a game, probably once every 3. I can live with that.
And we're talking probably like a high stick that was a puck and not the stick. Puck out of play, did it hit the glass or not, or things like that. Like those are the ones that you can most likely pick the flag up because it's did it hit them or not.
Yeah, they're few and far between.
Right. Very rare.
The game has changed quite a bit, and especially over the course of your involvement with hockey, which has been your whole life. Fighting is a big bone of contention, or a topic that a lot of people think it should be out of the game. A lot of people think it's part of the game. What's your thoughts on fighting? Is it part of the game, or should it be eliminated? What's your thoughts on that?
If you don't like fighting, watch something else.
I love it.
I mean, we have fighting. We always have. It's been reduced systematically. I think there should be more fighting. I'd like a little more, not a lot. I don't want to go back. I'm not a dinosaur. I don't want to go back to when I played in the American League. We had 3-hour games, bench clear brawls. I don't want any of that. If you see the excitement the goalie fight caused 2 nights ago, it's an important part of the game in terms of keeping the playing field level and letting the officials not be the sole arbiters of what's wrong in the game and what's not. I love the fact that the player will stick up for another player. I don't like clean hit fights as a rule, but if it's a vicious enough hit or you think it's important enough and you fight, I think that's commendable. So I like the amount of fighting we have. I'd like it to go back up. I like the way Florida plays right now. Fighting is coming back a little bit, which is nice for me. I don't want a big wave of it either.
What did you think of that college fight the other night with the BU Lowell kids fighting in college hockey?
I thought it was outstanding. He that plays for BU apparently has some training as a fighter, right? As a
Yes,
boxer.
I guess he was a boxer. Yeah.
But the other kid did look pretty good too. It was good fight.
It was a good scrap.
I got kicked out of college hockey for one game for fighting. I didn't even fight, but I got kicked out for fighting. So I think that rule is good. I don't mind the fact that the players get ejected and bounce for a game. I don't want a rapid influx of fighting, but once in a while, that's good for the game.
I agree.
With college hockey, another thing that we've discussed a lot is going to half shields in college hockey and thinking that it would change the game. What do you think on that?
I think half shields are way better than cages. There's a positive development. Still protecting the eyes, but not. Ed Rosso, you guys all remember Ed Rosso, little center, played for BC. Tough kid. But he has faced, he was fearless with a full cage on. I used to say to my players, take that cage off and see how he plays. I'm not Rosso. I really admired him as a player. I don't want to get in trouble with him. But I remember saying to players at Providence, take that cage off, see how he play. So I like the half shield better.
I think everybody's in.
Like it.
Go ahead.
Like the college lacrosse, where they wear eye guards. That's like they look too silly.
No, I mean that's a good. Well, hey, listen, no, that's a good point because the reason why the NCAA college hockey doesn't go to half shield is because of dental records. because all the numbers went up in junior hockey and everywhere else that they play with half shields, that the dental records go up, and that's the main reason why college will not go to the half shield, is because of the dental recorts.
You know,
The dental bill.
last year in Pittsburgh for 3 years, and I'm still getting teeth fixed. Don't forget.
No, but you brought up a good point with the goggles, right? What's the difference?
I know, but it'll never happen.
No.
My brother's a dentist, so he kind of enjoys. He was actually the Bruins dentist for 31 years, and now my nephew is. And I know he's all for the half shields.
I'm always saying that they should allow the pro women players to have the option to have a half shield too. Like they're at a high level, but I feel like they should have the same option as the men. I know the reasons why they don't, but
I don't want to. I told them I was head of the union for the women for the PWHL for 2 years. I told the women I don't want them to look like me when they get to be my scar, teeth fixed, and both shoulders done, both knees. I don't want that.
Now the big thing now we're on the subject with the checking with the women's game, the PWHL, I think it's excellent in how they're calling it. They're not calling the big blow up hits, and I just think checking in general, and I just want to see your thoughts on it, is I think it should be checking from U6 on up, right? And introduce it right away, because we're already doing it now. And checking's not, I think we're introducing it as a bad thing, when checking is not a bad thing. A big blow up hit is, or, when checking is introduced, kids feel at 14, now I can go and kill somebody. And, they're all doing it wrong. They're all walking around, with broken wings. But there is a proper way to throw a body check. And if you learn it at a young age, I think it could be, executed throughout. And, I think you'll reduce injuries, and, I think the game would be better for it if we just introduce checking not as a scary thing, but as a positive thing for the game.
Well, the reason we got rid of checking up till Bantam was because of the drop-off of numbers. Number of players dropped out of hockey at 13 was frightening. It was 2/3 of the people, or 1/3 dropped out, 1 to a half in some parts of the country. So we put checking back. We took checking out till through Pee Wee for a reason, and put in an introductory period. So what you're saying is true. If we had checking right through, yes, they'd learn it better. But my experience has been, once kids hit at young age, they my girlfriend's handing me a note to point out the PWHL did teach checking. They had experts come in and teach body checking to women to do it safely. So that's a good point. But I'm not smart enough to read the note and not tell my girlfriend she's showing me a note. Really. But
Good.
that's why we got rid of hitting up till Bantam. And that's why I supported it, because I remember when it happened. We were losing 30 to 60%, depending on which region you were in, of young players saying, I don't want to hit. I don't want to play hockey with hitting. That's why it continued up. We have less attrition at Bantam. We still have some, but they can teach it then. It's a compromise, if you will. So what you're saying has merit. I think this is a good compromise.
And I think if they mirror what the PWHL is doing right now, like those big blow up hits, like those are getting penalized. It's like the ones along the boards, and you're rubbing them out, and it's a bump, and I just finished my hit, and I'm not, trying to put them in the third or fourth row. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think, if it's taught right, I think that the big thing is educating our players and our coaches how to, do it properly.
It's a really hard line to walk, and I think we've got to walk harder. I think they've got to call a few more penalties and a few more suspensions. I don't think players will, this, you guys all know this. Players will go as far as the referee lets them go.
Mm-hmm.
If you give them an inch, they'll take an inch. You give them a half a mile, they'll take half a mile. So it's important that the referee set that standard and the league set that standard. I think we're walking too close. There's too many big hits that should be penalties and or suspensions. But I think the league will sort that out.
I think one thing I'd be a proponent for is introducing it in peewees as opposed to bantams. And because I understand Mike and Squirt, they're still kind of, a lot of them aren't steady on their feet or whatever. But that size difference, you hit bantams, and some people have that growth spurt, and you got a 140-pound kid going against an 85-pound kid. I think in peewees, there's less of that discrepancy with size, and that might, kind of calm down some of that fear of those kids, that don't want to get hit.
We found that size discrepancy with peewees. So
Okay.
I think it's a compromise. Like, it's never going to be perfect. Some people say, well, introduce it in Bantam. Some will say introduce it in midget or wherever U18 is now. You can't say midget, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We still do. We still do, Brian. We
On
go
this
with midget.
podcast, we do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So some people say put it up to U18. I think that's too late. I think it's a good compromise. I think it's keeping players in the game and not taking them out too soon.
You mentioned not enough is being called, and I know a lot of people, especially completely non-hockey people, but those casual fans in the playoffs for the NHL, everything is allowed. And I'm not talking about the hooks and holds and trips, but a lot of cross checks and a lot of violent stuff. And people always ask me, why don't they call that? And I'd like to see more of the violent stuff called during the playoffs and not just let them kill each other.
Well, I gotta correct you on one thing, Mark. You said I said not enough is called. I'm saying too much is called of the ticky tack stuff.
Right, right.
All of the hits on the women, not on the men. I
Gotcha.
think too much called, too much ticky tack stuff called. Not a lot. I'm not saying there's an avalanche of penalties, but there's at least 2 or 3 calls every night that I say, Jesus Murphy, that can't be a penalty. It can't be a penalty, especially if it's tie game 3-3. People say, oh, why don't they call it the same as they do in the regular season? Because it's the playoffs. That's why. We've always called a higher standard. We've always had better referees. You don't get to work the playoffs unless you're a better referee. Those guys all get washed out before. So they're all senior referees. They know the standard. They know what's at stake. The stakes are higher. They call less. I can live with that. I've always been able to live with it.
I mean, I think the players adjust too. I don't think the players are doing anything stupid as well. I think they play, they got their sticks down, head down. They just play hard and aggressive. And, if you're playing hard and through things, 9 out of 10 times it's not going to get called. So I think the game dictates too.
Supplementary discipline's the same too. The stakes go up. A 1-game suspension in October is probably a 5-minute major, if anything, in April. And like in the first round of the playoffs, you get a 4-game suspension. That's the equivalent of 8 games regular season. So there's a sliding scale that goes up in the playoffs. Officiating does too. I don't have a problem with that. It's always been that way.
We always say, Chris Rooney is a good friend of ours. We think, yeah, great referee. Him and Wes McCauley, for our money, are the 2 best. I said last year they should just do every game in the finals.
Oh, you can't do that. The union, the NHLPA has a union, so no, you won't see that. But I agree with those 2. They're excellent. But I think the league has a lot of top guys. Really do.
Now, what we ask everyone this that's won it. What's it like to lift the Stanley Cup?
Well, I mean, it's a pinnacle. It's I'm not sure you can explain in words. It's a relief, first of all, for all of us. We've been trying so hard to win the cup. When you finally do win it, like I remember asking Ray Burke, what was the biggest sensation you felt when you grabbed the cup? Because he tried so hard. He was a star player for 20 years. Then he had to go chase it in Colorado. Did not win it his first year. Won it his second year in Colorado. I think overtime in Game 6. I think they came that close to getting bounced in Game 6. So I asked him, he said, relief. He said, look at my face. It's just relief. I can't believe I finally did it. I asked Taylor Solane the same thing. Chris Bryant, same thing, just relief. For me, it was a culmination. I'm an American kid. I didn't start playing hockey until I was 13. So it was a real late and remote dream for me. I never dreamed of playing in the first Stanley Cup. When I was a kid growing up, I never dreamed I'd get a chance to play, let alone work for a team. Relief, elation. And then right away, I remember 2 days after we won the cup, I was booking a flight to Montreal, trying to extend J.S. Shiger's contract. And my ex-wife went nuts. She says, can't we just enjoy this for a couple of days? I'm like, no.
Want to do it
We
again?
want to do this again, right?
Right back at it.
Yeah, no, it was, I never did it again. Still dream I might be able to, but I never did it again. I only got one shot at it. We played in the conference final the year before we won the cup in 06, and we won it in 07. Never got close after that. That bugs me too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Once you get there, you want to get back. Your playing career was kind of interesting because, like you just said, you didn't start till 13, but yet you played D1 college hockey and went on to play pro hockey. And that's unusual for someone who starts that late.
Yeah, I started, and we moved to Minnesota when I was 12. And I lived in Boston before that. I lived in Springfield, Massachusetts, or Springfield, Pennsylvania, outside of Philly. I was born in Providence, Rhode Island. So we moved around. My dad was in sales. We didn't move to Minnesota till I was 12. Started playing hockey at 13. So I started very late. First year was Bantam House, second year Bantam House, third year Midget B, fourth year Midget A, fifth year playing high school hockey at Edina West. Walked on as a freshman at Providence, made the team, ended up being a full scholarship athlete, graduated as captain, and played the record number of games played at Providence College when I graduated. So I had a pretty spectacular career considering how late I started. And the fact that I'm not a natural athlete. Like a lot of these guys, like you look at Mason West, he's just a great athlete. I'm not. You watch me play basketball or something, you'd laugh. You'd say, what a klutz. So being a natural athlete, to come at it, you had to do it all the right way, do it all hard. Thank God for outdoor ice.
Now,
Free ice, baby.
Minnesota. We've had a few people on from Minnesota, Andrew Alberts, Gigi Marvin. Minnesota seems to do it right in the sense of kids start with their town, play all the way through high school. There's great rivalry. Where we are in Massachusetts, it seems like club hockey, actually all in New England, club hockey is kind of taken over, and there's really no pride in your town or playing for your town anymore. And I finally admitted Minnesota does it right. They're a better hockey state than Mass. I've always argued that, but I think now you can't really argue that.
I think it's a great program the way they do in Minnesota, but it's under attack as well. There's kids now leaving to go play junior that didn't before. A lot of guys wouldn't leave before they play high school hockey. Now they are. So we'll see what happens. With the new development, the CHL and everything, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a great model right now. It's the Minnesota State High School Championship. Amazing.
Yes.
That's so it's I liken it to football down south, in Texas and those states where football is, that's religion.
And
in Minnesota,
football down south, one thing there, most of those guys are multi-sport athletes too. Most of the top football players are track and field guys or baseball players or basketball players. Multi-sport culture in Minnesota is very strong, same in the South. That's one thing I think we're getting away from, and it bothers me.
yeah, that's something we've discussed a lot. Like Gigi Marvin was a great softball player. That I think is kind of one of the problems with youth sports right now, and not just hockey, but every sport. They want kids to play year round, at age 9, 10, 11, when they should be off kind of rounding themselves off as an athlete.
I talked to Gigi Marvin her first year in the league when I was my first year. I said, are you one of the Marvins? Like the Marvin family from Minnesota, Marvin Windows, they're one of the most famous families in Minnesota. TJ Oshie's related to them, I think. Waro guys are all there. Marvin Windows is a famous company and a famous family. So Gigi Marvin, I know she was a multi-sport athlete. I think she played 3 sports, not just 2.
Yeah, she did. And we had fun because her and TJ Oshie had a little dust up in high school during a stick and puck. So,
Yeah, they had a scrap, didn't they?
yeah.
Bet on Gigi in that one.
Absolutely.
100%. And Gigi was she was one of the forefront players in the PWHL, or at the time it was the 2 leagues. She talked about how, they'd have to go get their skates done at Pure Hockey, and, they didn't have the equipment guy, and they didn't have all the things that they have now. And so the progression of professional women's hockey has been fantastic.
Well, I've been a fan of women's hockey since Nagano. I'd never watched women's hockey till Nagano. Then I got the bug. I saw the same thing happen once in Calgary with the Inferno. Before that, once in Toronto with the Furies. I watched 3 women share one roll of tape getting ready for a game. One woman taped her shin pads, handed the roll of tape to the second woman, who handed the roll of tape to the third one. They had to share a roll of tape, for God's sake. No money. They had to pay to get their own equipment done. They had to buy skates. It was nuts. So what the PWHL has done is funded it properly, staffed it properly, at a huge cost. Like the players are getting paid fairly. They're getting a living wage, but they're not making serious money because the league is funding everything. There's a coach and assistant coach on every team. There's a trainer, massage therapist, equipment trainer. It's unbelievable what they've done. Travels first class. I mean, they bust, but we all bust when we play in the American League. We play in Cup. No big deal. They fly when they have to. But it's been the Walter family's been a godsend in women's hockey. They've been unreal.
It's a great product too. I take my 10-year-old daughter; she loves it.
I love it. I love what
We just went to the women's bean pot last night, actually. Yeah, Harvard won on a penalty shot in overtime.
I still have 4 season tickets, even though I'm no longer involved with the league. I still go. I love it. I think the women are amazing. What they had to do to get to play, and how hard they had to work, and how hard they had to fight for their rights. It's a testament. So I would encourage anyone, if you don't watch women's hockey, start watching it.
Yeah, we watch on TV. It's great. It's a great product.
Yeah.
We're big. So my youngest daughter was my hockey player. I finally got one. Gino's daughter plays. I've always been huge on women's hockey. And I coached her all along. And I always said coaching girls hockey or women's hockey was so much easier than boys because boys are stupid and you had to tell them 15 times what to do and they wouldn't do it. Girls would apply at the next shift. And I think it's a purer game, yeah.
Sam Bennett asked me one time at Maple Leaf Garden, or not Maple Leaf Garden, whatever it is, Air Canada Center. What is it now? And it was coming by me at the rink. He said, Burke, how's the women's hockey going? I said, great. He said, what's the biggest difference? I said, they're grateful, Sam. They say thank you. They listen, tell them how to do a drill. They do. We used to have guys we call drill killers. We never changed a drill with that guy in the front of the line. They had to wait till never have that with women. Whatever you tell them to do, they do it well. They do it right. They work hard. They're wonderful.
And the skill level, I mean, some are, I'd say, as skilled as some of the better men's players.
Yeah, there's physiological differences. They'll always be there. Size and strength differences. It'll never go away. But the actual skill of the women, if you watch women playing and you don't really pay attention, you go in and squint a little bit so you can't see ponytails. You think it's a junior age boys team, not a women's team at all. They're so good. They're so much fun. They shoot the puck so well. They make good plays. They work hard. They get defensive schemes. They're so smart. It's just a joy to watch.
And they don't shit talk the referees as much. I know that.
They do, but with compliments.
It's growing. It's getting better.
Yeah, the NHL is the only league left out of the major 4 that don't have a woman official.
They had one linesman work the AHL, right?
Yep.
They got a couple. Yeah, they got a couple that do both referee and lines. But nothing in the National League yet.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, they've done like exhibitions and things like that, but I don't think they've ever done an actual game yet.
We'll get there.
There's a couple that'll work in the Olympics that this coming February. I think that can one or two might have
Kelly
a shot.
Cook, one of them.
Oh yeah, Kelly Cook is going. Kirsten Welch, she's a line person, and I think she, if anybody, has a shot.
And there's one from Rhode Island going too.
Yeah, made it to Sony. Yep.
Yeah. Which is, and speaking of the Olympics, I mean, the Olympics, I can't wait. And I love women's Olympics because there's just that rivalry that, not that there's not rivalry in the men's, there is, but, when Canada plays the U.S., it's just a war.
Don't get me started on the Olympics. I think the Olympics are a joke in terms of how many teams there are, how many distances there are. Compare the Olympics at Lake Placid in 1928 or whatever it was, and the Olympics in Berlin, and compare the number of events they have. They've bastardized it. They've expanded. It's too big. It's crazy. But the Olympic hockey is still spectacular. I love it.
Do you agree with best on best with NHL players playing in it, or should they have kept it amateur?
No, the best on best. And the leaving Russia out makes perfect sense for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with everything going on in the world right now, it's interesting that like the Olympics are just it's kind of wild that that just political. I don't want to get into politics, but it's just going to be interesting.
Well, it's a shame Russia players are not there, but it's the right thing to leave Russia out right now. But best on best minus the top Russian players is outstanding.
That's like the Four Nations tournament. I thought was fantastic.
Right from the get-go. Right from the face-off. I laughed because I was doing a podcast a week before the Four Nations. Someone says they're going to be intense, or they're all buddies. I said, there's no buddies. International hockey, there's no friends. I wouldn't even talk to someone on the other team.
Can't.
And that's kind of unique to hockey, isn't it? Like, especially like baseball now. There used to be that hatred between the Yankees and the Red Sox, and it was legit. It wasn't like they only hated each other when they played. And in hockey, it's kind of like you don't see that. The friendship ends as soon as the puck drops, and it's like I'll stab you even if you're my best friend
or brother.
Originals. There are only 6 teams. They travel by train. They would not speak to one another. If someone had to walk through one train in the car past the other team, they wouldn't speak. And there were fights on the train. I'm glad we've progressed past that part, but the lack of liking for each other is really cool to watch.
Now, do you think the Four Nations should expand to like 6, or should they keep it at 4?
No, this should go to a World Cup, I think, every other year in between the Olympics. So like this year would be an Olympic year, 2 years from now would be a World Cup year. But
I like that.
Or play the World Cup in the summer like we used to. To the season, it really wrecks the season. There's a number of guys who are hurt right now. It's because of compression. Mainly because of the Olympic schedule.
Yeah, that was one of the drawbacks to the Four Nations, in that there was a few key guys that were hurt in that tournament.
And they get hurt every Olympics too. John Tavares got hurt. Matthias Olin got hurt. It's like 10 players got hurt in Torino. Like 6 players got hurt in Vancouver. It's going to happen again. That's not a fun flight coming back with your arm in a sling from Italy.
Oof.
Yeah.
And when you were involved, with the U.S. team, what was that experience like as far as kind of representing your country?
Well, being a kid from Minnesota and not playing hockey till I was 13, I never dreamed I'd get a chance to play in the Olympics, let alone represent my country in any way. So in 1993, at the end of my first year in Hartford, Art Berglund called me, the late great Art Berglund from USA Hockey called me and said, would you be willing to represent Team USA at the Olympics or at the World Championships? I told him I will fold towels, Art. I will drive my Class A license and drive the bus. I will fold towels. And JJ, the late great Jimmy Johansson, made a poster of me folding towels. So that's how strongly I felt. Any chance I had to represent my country. So with USA Hockey asked me to be in the Olympics 2009, be in the World Championships in 2010, be a GM of the Olympic team. It was a great opportunity. I treasured it. I worked at Sochi as well, director of player personnel. Great experience. And we obviously won a silver medal. And we lost in overtime to a great team. But we were picked to finish 6th. If you look at the pre-tournament prognosticators, no one thought we'd play for a medal at all.
Yeah, that was an exciting Olympics because of that, because no one expected the U.S. to kind of even compete.
Well, Ronnie Wilson was our coach. He did a great job. David Poyle was my associate GM. He did a great job. Torts was an assistant coach. He did a great job. We had a great staff. Chris Drury was important on that team. Zach Parise, Jamie Langenbrunner, all key guys. I love that group. I love being around that team.
Now, that was a fun team to watch.
If they worked, they wouldn't quit.
Now, as a GM, you know, the one of the pulling off getting both Sedins. I mean, that was just, I think one of the best, because I can only imagine if they played separately, you know, if they went to two different teams, but you were able to kind of work it so that you were able to get both.
There's two guys that deserve the most credit for that deal. One is Mark Crawford, who turned them into players, but the more important guy is Thomas Gerdine, our Swedish scout. Because Thomas Gerdine came to me that fall and said, we got to try and get these two brothers, these twins. And I said to him, they're both going to be top 5 picks. No one's ever picked twice in the top 5 before. No one's ever picked identical twins. How the hell am I supposed to get 2 kids? He said, that's your job. So and then the World Juniors were in Winnipeg that year. If you guys recall, the Swedes weren't very good in that tournament. They got knocked down a lot. USA ran the shit out of them. Canada ran the shit out of them. And I left the tournament. I told our guys, we're not making this deal. We were going to trade our pick. We're not take. I didn't like. If you look at the first round, you Google it right now if you want. Look at the first round that year. It's the worst first round in the history of the NHL. The worst first round by a mile. That's the only reason teams were willing to move guys. So that's the reason we got in. I didn't like it. I told our guys we were going to trade the pick. We weren't picking. I didn't like anyone in the group. And then Thomas Gerdine begged me to go to Oslo to the World Championships and watch the Twins. So I said, okay, Thomas, I'm going to go. I'm going to watch them play 3 games, and we're going to drop this nonsense. One shift, the first shift of the first game, they played at Amara. They didn't play in Oslo. 2.5-hour drive to see them play. So I'm pissed off. Our city's too stiff. First shift of the first game, Henrik Sedin made an area pass like 60 feet away. Tosser pass to nobody. And Daniel skated right onto it. And I saw the magic for the first time. I said, now, Thomas Gerdine knew it at the start. It took me a whole year to figure it out. Now I see it. I said, I got to get him. And we got him.
It's awesome.
Could you tell them apart?
No. The best part was the fifth game they played that year, Daniel got a cut in his lip. He got like 6 stitches on his lip. We're all going, yeah, he's got a scar. Then it healed instantly and completely. I'm like, God damn it. I can't.
That's great. So, like, being a GM, obviously there's a lot of pressures coming to that. And we just had, I think Ally Afraidy was just talking about it on the podcast about the pressures of being in Toronto, like as like a player and just with the media and everything. Being an executive in Toronto, is it really just like a completely different level than being an executive anywhere else in the NHL?
It's the scale that's daunting. It's a scale. So you look at a Minnesota Wild game after a game, say a Tuesday night, or say Tuesday night in Minnesota. You might have 50 people in the room in the players' room, media people milling around, doing interviews, talking to people, maybe 60. In Calgary, we have 45 on a Tuesday. On a Saturday, we probably have 50. Toronto, there's 100 every night. The reason the dressing room is so big in Toronto is to accommodate the media. There's 100 people in there every night. So the scale is what's daunting. I think the coverage overall is fair. People would not get the job done in Toronto. People wrote that. If we played well, they wrote that. If we played poorly, they wrote that. If I made a good deal, they wrote that. If I made a bad deal, they wrote that too. I could live with it because it was fair. Now, the scale is what daunts you, and that's what gets the players is everyone, when you're not playing well, everyone picks up a rock. So 10 guys pick up a rock and throw it at DM Phaneuf. 10 guys pick up a rock and throw it at Phil Kessel. 10 guys throw it at me. 10 guys throw it at Ron Wilson. Now there's 40 rocks in the air. So the volume can get on you. But I thought the coverage overall was fair. I think it's Montreal's tougher because you're stupid twice. You're stupid in French and English. Vancouver's got a vicious social media side that I don't like. It wasn't there when I was there. It came up after I left. But otherwise, I thought the coverage was fair. It's nonstop. Like even now, I've been out of the game in Toronto for, I left in 13, so 12 years. I still get stopped everywhere for pictures, autographs. People give me shit about how the or whatever. But it's a hockey market. It's not for everyone. I love living in Toronto.
Yeah.
I would say Toronto hockey, like the Maple Leafs, is similar to what we have here with the Red Sox, and the intense media coverage and the scrutiny. But it's interesting to hear you say it's fair, because there's plenty of guys that might say otherwise.
Well, I felt it was fair when we played well. They wrote that. Overwhelmingly, they were fair. They wrote that. There's some negative people. There's people like Steve Simmons. I don't talk to Steve Simmons. Never will. But there's some negative people. But overall, the coverage is fair. We played well. They wrote that. I made a good deal. They wrote that. I made a bad deal. They wrote that. That's all you can ask for. And they're knowledgeable. They're a very knowledgeable fan base and a very knowledgeable season ticket base and a very knowledgeable media base. So I look back at my time in Toronto. I failed to get the job done. I got fired. The team got sold. I can live with all of that. I was proud to be a Maple Leaf, proud of the time I spent here, and I loved it, and I still love the city. By the way, Riles, you got to stop saying it like an American. It's not Toronto. It's Toronto.
Toronto.
Pronounce the second T.
See, that's my Boston accent. We fuck
Talk
up words
lazy.
we shouldn't.
It's like saying New Orleans. It's New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, we're lucky I'm not saying Toronto, because usually we put an R on the end where they don't belong.
I'm always like that.
What was your favorite? Like, because you've been in so many different cities. Toronto, is that your favorite, or was that your best experience as a GM? Or
My best experience is winning a cup in Anaheim. So that's
Yeah.
but my favorite city to live was Calgary. Calgary is a great city to live. It's so beautiful, so many wide open spaces. But what I loved about it was I do a lot of charity work, as you guys know.
Mhm.
In Calgary, everyone has a second vocation for charity. So you say to someone, "What do you do for work?" I said, "Well, I'm an accountant, but I'm on the board of the Mustard Seed, which is a food bank." Or you say, "What do you do?" "I'm a school teacher, but I'm a Special Olympics coach." Everyone has a second calling to benefit someone in the community that's less fortunate. It's unbelievable. I've never lived in a place where people gave back so much so often. So that's what I loved about it. I fell in love with the place right away. My favorite stop on the tour.
Now you bring up charity. You can play that whole organization, or I don't know what you call it, but that's an awesome thing that you do.
Well, you're being very polite, Mark. You don't have to be. I lost a son. My son, Brendan, passed away in a car accident, and he had come out gay not long before, and we formed a charity, and his name, my son, Patrick, really was the guiding light behind it. But me and the other kids formed a charity called You Can Play, and it's basically the premise is if you're good enough to play here, you can play. You can play, you can play. Doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter what your color is, doesn't matter what church you go to, doesn't matter if you're gay. You can play, you can play. So the notion that we turn with something awful into something good on behalf of Brendan. So it's good. Thank you for being polite. Thank you for asking about it.
No, I really think that it's fantastic, because, in the world we live in, acceptance, I have a daughter. So, I think it's so important, and it's such a good example as far as, all the major sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really important work. I'm proud of it on behalf of our family. And I think inclusion is really important, especially today, because it's going back the wrong way right now. Taking a hard right turn for no good reason.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and I wish there was, other sports would kind of take, more action with that.
Yeah. Well, I think it was going that way, and then it went back pride tape and everything got cut back. So we've taken a right turn back, and kind of people would say got back more to normal, but I think it's the wrong turn. I think it's the wrong mistake. we'll get back to what we need to do. But in the meantime, just everyone's got to vote and everyone's got to speak their voice on this stuff. It's very important. Speak up for the people that need help.
Absolutely.
100%. And, back to normal. What the fuck is wrong with people? Like, that's, to me, the acceptance is key. And if we got away from all the bullshit, all the stuff like bullying and all this stuff would, be minimal as opposed to what it is now.
Yeah, and they're all linked. All those issues are linked. And acceptance really is the key to all of it, not tolerance. You tolerate rain, you tolerate cats. Acceptance is human. So, it's the key to everything. It's the key to society moving forward as a whole.
Now, one thing with hockey is that camaraderie, that, family kind of feel like we've all been part of teams where, you don't look at them as teammates, you look at them as brothers. Like, tomorrow I'm heading to, I went to Curry and played at Curry, and one of my teammates, Kevin Joyce, unfortunately passed away a few years ago, and they're inducting him into the Hall of Fame. And, all the guys from that year are going, and, and it's just I think, a different feel with the sport of hockey.
Yeah, it is. I just went down to Providence College for mini reunion. We saw them beat Maine twice, which was fun. And then they beat BC twice the next
Yeah, I
week.
was gonna say they just swept BC this weekend. Yeah.
So we were there the weekend before, the bunch of guys I played with. It's such a special bond. And I played for Lou Lamoriello, who was a special guy. I didn't love Lou every night, but I really enjoyed playing for him. It was a great thing. And you're right, it forms a bond that never changes, never goes away. And time falls away. You don't see someone for 10 years. It's like you were playing with them 30 years ago.
That's so true.
Yeah, and you could even see it in the or not the whole team, but the 2011 Stanley Cup Bruins just played an alumni game against Navy SEALs and Marines here in Boston last weekend, and like just seeing those guys see each other again, it's like they grew up together. It's such a close bond. It's cool to see like the difference between like a Stanley Cup team bond and then just like people who played together.
I went to Afghanistan to visit the Canadian soldiers 3 different times. I went 6 times, but only 3 times we made it to Afghanistan, into the war zone, in Kandahar and Kabul. And that shows you, we think we have important jobs till you get overseas. People have really important jobs.
Well, the Navy, the Warrior for Life Fund is the organization that the Bruins alumni are very involved with, and Josh and I have been able to get involved with it too through refereeing games, and we did some comedy shows for them. And the Navy SEALs all talk about how the teams, their teams, are so similar, and it translates so well to hockey teams.
There are a lot of similarities. The stakes are so much higher. Once you go to Afghanistan, you're in the war zone. You see the difference. An important decision for us is someone scores a goal. Important decision for them is someone gets shot. So it's very different stakes. It teaches you a great deal of humility and respect. We think we have important jobs, and we do, but we don't compare to what soldiers do and airmen do and Navy SEALs do. So it was a great experience for me to be able to go over there and spend some time with those men and women. And very humbling and very, very grateful for the chance to see that. And if you think you swear a lot, you'll go somewhere with the military. They mastered it.
That's so true. I mean, one similarity I find is, the Navy SEALs. We've had 3 on this podcast, 3 retired Navy SEALs, and very similar to hockey players in that they're so humble, they're so accommodating. Where a majority of NHLers are the same way. I mean, we see it with the Bruins alumni. Even a guy like Chara or Bergeron, who are huge, are so accommodating and never bothered by people asking for autographs or anything like that. And it's kind of, I've seen that similar approach with the Navy SEALs. And that's, I think, another connection they have, where in other sports, it's, it's not the case where a majority of them are like that.
Yeah.
I had both my knees replaced a couple of years ago. I went pheasant hunting after I had the first one done. I wasn't ready to walk. I went too soon. There are 8 Navy SEALs with me in North Dakota and in South Dakota, sorry. And hunted with these 8 Navy SEALs. Like you said, they could not have been more accommodating. Guys like, Burke, you shouldn't be walking. We'll move you up here. Get in the back of the car, back of the pickup truck. We'll move you over. You can block. So you just have to stand someplace and shoot. So their humility, their kindness was very evident. They're so humble. They don't talk about anything they did, even though when guys were telling me later some of the actions these guys were in, scary, tough, but so polite and so nice. And they can shoot. I can tell you that. They can. How
I was
many
gonna say,
birds flew past me?
Glove.
I mean,
Yeah.
Riley knows better than anybody how hard they can shoot.
I got shot by a Navy SEAL. It was a slap shot, but broke my ankle. And back in the alumni game last year when they played. But I can only imagine hunting with
And
Navy
he hasn't
SEALs.
stopped talking about it since.
Seen Navy SEALs play hockey. They're better SEALs than they are hockey players.
Well, yeah, that's true. Although there's a few on that Warrior for Life team that can, a couple of them played in the American League. There's a few players on that team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Aaron Berdosian is one of them. He played in the American League and had a pretty good career. But ended up on a SEAL team. And talk about a guy who, you look at him and you're like, this guy could do some damage to this whole fucking room. But nicest guy you'll ever meet.
They are special.
And hanging with those guys, I realized how much I complain about everything. I kept going to complain about stuff. I was like, oh, not in front of these guys.
Who? Now we ask everyone, and I know it's a kind of a shitty question or difficult question, but who's on your Mount Rushmore of hockey?
I have to think about that, but a couple people come to mind right away. One's easy. Sid. One of the great joys and the reasons I went to Pittsburgh was to meet Sid. I knew I could not to meet him, but to work with him. What a treat that was. So I'd say Sid. I'd say Teemu. Teemu Solani is one of the finest
Love
people
that.
in my life. I'd say Diamphanoff was a great captain, great guy, great player. I love Diamphanoff.
Beast.
Wonderful. I'd say, and I'm kind of partial to defensemen. I make fun of defensemen all the time because how dumb they are. But you can't win without defense. So I'd add Scott Niedermayer and Chris Pronger to that list. Marcus Naslund maybe is the last forward.
Now, Teemu's Solani's kids both played at Curry, my alma mater, and I got to referee him. And Teemu, it was kind of cool. He was there with Mike Eruzione because Mike's nephew was playing on the team. And Teemu looked like he could jump right back in. I mean,
Yeah, he does.
Just incredible. What was cool was I asked Vinny Eruzione, Mike's brother, if, they'd come down and say hi in between periods. So I say to the other guys, yeah, I got a couple friends coming down to say hi, and, they don't know who's coming. And then those two show up, and I look like a freaking rock star to them because, the two of them came.
I played 4 years against Mike Eruzione. I was a right winger. He was a left winger. Played head-to-head with him. I never talked to players unless I was going to fight. I didn't like talking to players. Kept my mouth shut. Riz talks all the time. Riz, hey, Berkey, how are you? How are you? He's got the Boston accent. Hey, Berkey, how are you? I wouldn't talk to him. Finally, in the third period, I'd say, would you shut the fuck up? He'd wait, say, see, I got you to talk. You talked. He drove me nuts. He was such a good player. Such a good guy. He's not a good player. He's a great player, Mike Eruzione.
Yeah, he was. I mean, that 80 team was just, it was incredible. Did you ever get to work with Herb Brooks?
No, but I knew Herb well. Great guy. We played summer hockey again. I used to play summer hockey in Minnesota. I used to go back to Minnesota in the summers and play summer hockey, which is very important for me development-wise. And it was a tough league. I fought Paul Holmgren in the summer league. I had other fights of note. But Herb Brooks used to pack the team. So you had players from Colorado College, Dartmouth, Providence College, Minnesota, Duluth. You had all these kids who come back and play summer hockey. And Herb would pack the team. He put 8 Gophers on one team. So Tommy Vanelli, the Fippins, Tommy Younghands, Paul Homeward all ended up on one team. And they won the championship every year. So one year we won the championship. And I went on, Herb Brooks came over, he goes, Burke, well done, well done. I said to Herb, who packs a summer league team? Who does? He put his arm, he goes, Burke, always take the edge. I knew Herb well. I really liked Herb. I was sad. I know exactly how he died too. He was going home, on his way home, and right at the exit where you go to the airport, he swerved off. People say, he must have been tired, but I think he just remembered, hey, wait, I'm going to the airport, and went over and rolled the car. Too bad.
It's would you consider? I mean, what he did in '80 was just a remarkable thing. But as far as coaches, who have you worked with that you think might be the best coach?
Well, for me, Mark Crawford was a great coach. He worked for me in Vancouver. He did a great job. He turned our team from a real struggling team into a Stanley Cup contender. Randy Carlisle obviously did a good job. We won a Stanley Cup. He's a great coach. Ron Wilson did a good job. He was kind of nearer to the end when I had him in Toronto, but he did a great job with the Olympic team and with the Leafs. There's a lot of great coaches. Like right now, I'd say John Cooper is the best coach in the NHL. I think he deserves that acclaim right now. And I'd say there's a couple other really good ones. Paul Maurice.
Yes.
Mark Crawford had great lettuce.
Yeah, he did. He's a great guy too. We were playing Boston. We used to play we had turkey with Burke on Thanksgiving. At 1:00, we had played the Bruins. And I brought Father Doyle, who was a friend of mine, he still is, brought Father Doyle to the game on Friday afternoon. And Mark Crawford, we lost in overtime because Matthias Olin, or not Matthias Olin, Marcus Naslund stumbled in overtime, wiped out Matthias Olin, and the Bruins came back around the side of the net and scored a goal to win the game. I went and Mark Crawford had a paperclip. He picked up a paperclip for some reason, was throwing it off the wall, yelling, fuck, throwing it off the wall, and picking it up and throwing it off the other wall. And the coach, Father Doyle, walks in and hears Mark Crawford say, fuck. I said, Mark, this is Father Doyle. He said, sorry, Father, fuck. Mark Crawford was a great guy. You have to have fun too. He was a fun guy. His wife's lovely. We had a lot of fun as a couple. It was great hanging around with him.
Well, as a lettuce guy myself, you have some pretty damn good lettuce.
Yes.
A couple of really good scars in my head, though. If I ever go bald, it'll look ugly.
So you can't, right? That's. do
I
you
got
think,
a hat on.
do you think Hartford should have a team again?
No.
Everyone says that.
I agree with it.
Economically, Hartford was destroyed before I got there even. Pratt & Whitney used to have 10,000 jobs there. They manufactured aircraft. All the Hartford insurance companies moved to New York. We lost all those high-paying jobs. You can never recover, I don't think. It was done before I got there. The roaring 80s are long gone for me. Same with Quebec. I can't see a team going back into Quebec.
So where would you expand if the NHL does expand? Or should they expand?
I wouldn't expand. I don't think we should expand. 32 teams is plenty. You don't get me going.
Go ahead.
I agree.
Well, Pierre McGuire said they were going to, right? Remember Atlanta? Where else did he say? He said a couple of places. Pierre did, yeah.
They're talking about. We have 32 teams. We won the Cup. You win the Cup last year, so you win the Cup, you have your parade, and you look around and say, well, we're due to win again in 32 years. Want to make that 34 or 36? I don't think so. It'll be 36. It won't go up 2. Might go up 2 initially, but it'll go up. They have to put a team back in Arizona, too, when the building gets set. They're going to add 4 teams over time, I believe. I think it's all a mistake. I've been very public about it. Talked to Gary about it. It's just the lure of the money. If a team's going to bring $1 billion in expansion money, the lure of adding $4 billion in revenue base, I get it. That's too hard for the owners to say yes to, but I think they should say no. What are teams worth if they don't expand? What's an expansion team worth if they know they're not going to expand for 10 years? Guess what?
I think your product will will suffer from it too. Like, who knows? But
We'll be playing for the cup at the end of July.
Well, I will tell you one thing. So I'm opposed to wild card and all that stuff. But the wild card, you watch it in football and baseball, wild cards turn out to work pretty well. It's pretty. And I think the same thing would happen in hockey. We'd say, no, this is terrible. All traditions like me would say, no, it's terrible. Then they do a playing game and it'd be wildly successful. And then people would say, we can't play a one-team play and we have to play a best of 3. And all of a sudden, you stretch the season out another 2 weeks. So I'm opposed to expansion, but I think it's coming.
And I think what's been lost, like I'm old school. I love that rivalry, like playing a team 8 times in your own division. Back when you had the 4 divisions within the Campbell Conference and all that. Now I think that's kind of been lost, and that teams don't play each other enough.
Well, I agree. By the way, we have to play. What really messed it up was when we agreed to play everyone every year. Everyone said it was for Mario Lemieux and for Sid. Well, no one wanted to watch Pittsburgh before Sid got there. No one wanted to watch San Jose before Celebrini got there. So there's nothing wrong with playing those teams every other year and lightening the travel schedule. So you play San Jose instead of playing Pittsburgh every year. They'll play every other year, take out half the road games, the Eastern Conference games, and put them in somewhere else. So to me, it makes sense. If you do some schedule revision, I would like to get to 76 games, not to where they're going from 82 to 84. There's a way to do it if you kept the salary cap where it is for a year and recovered the revenue that was lost for those teams. Take out 6 games. That's 3 home games for each team. Take out 6 games. Replace the revenue from the salary cap. Freeze the salary cap for a year. There's a way to do it.
Now, because I think they like football does that the right way, where like the AFC East will play one of the NFC divisions, like East or South or whatever, but then that's all they play is those teams in that division.
Yeah, it'd be pretty simple, especially if they're going to go to 36 games. You could get to a balanced schedule pretty easily and not play everyone in every building.
Do you think they should go back to kind of more of a conference where you're playing like Boston, Montreal was always so freaking exciting because they hated each other.
I think you'll have that. I think it'll go 1 through 8, but I'd like to go 1 through 8, not in brackets. So like we're going to lose a prime team's going to lose in the Central Division this year in the first round. One of those top 3 teams is going out. That won't go away if you went through 1 through 8 and reseeded each round. It won't go away, but it'll be better. I think doing the brackets is tough right now.
Do you think it would ever work to do like maybe an original 6 division where it's just like the?
I like the divisions the way they are.
Yeah.
Who's your pick right now? Who's your front runner for the Stanley Cup this year?
Well, Colorado's been the best team in the league all year, and there's no reason to say anything different right now. I think they're a little thin in terms of injury, but we'll see. We'll see as things go along. Right now, Colorado's the class of the league by a mile.
And it starts with their head coach. He's Jared Benton. He's one of the best I came across in the minors. He was in South Carolina when I was in the Coast League, and I had him all through the American League. And his success is unbelievable in Colorado. He's just a great guy.
The path that some of those guys took, Tortorella, the path the guys worked their way up, Glenn Gultson. They worked.
Yep, Gully, yeah. Yep.
And I admire that. Torts on TV one time. Asked him what he made his first year coaching in South Carolina. I think he was making $16,000. That's hard to live on $16,000, folks.
No, but I mean, you go through the process and you do everything right, you're gonna, hopefully reach success. Like I think nowadays everybody wants to jump the process and get there yesterday instead of going through the grind and doing it the right way. And like a lot of those guys you just named, even in Cooper, he's one of them that I had through the minors. Like he was awesome to deal with. And you just see how hard all these guys worked. And, you see them at the rinks early and the time they put in. And then, and then you see them on TV and behind the bench in the National Hockey League. And it's great to see.
Coop was coaching Syracuse. On the Marlies, we lost them in the Calder Cup.
That's right.
I remember going over to shake hands with Coop. I was so mad at my team. We got swept or lost 4-1, or I think we got swept, but we didn't play well in the finals. I was really sour. I had to go shake his hand. I was so pissed off. And I was like, "Hey, Coop, good job." And I walked away like, "God damn it! I hope I never have to do that again."
I worked the league that year, and I think Johnny A. Bear did that final, and there was a controversial goal, offside goal, I think, in that series.
Was it Tosca goal? It was about 20 feet offside.
It was 20 feet offside, yes. And, the linesman was falling asleep, and it was in the back of the net, but the play was offside.
Well, the league issued an apology the next day, but Dallas Eakins.
Dallas Eakins, that's right. Yep.
Dallas Eakins said to me, "I'm going to go out there and rip the referees." I said, "Dallas, we just lost our third straight game. We're down 3-0 in the series. We're not saying a word about officiating." But yeah, Mike Tosca scored that goal. I signed him the next year as some revenge. I brought him back to Toronto.
The coaches all those coaches we just talked about kind of took the same path as a lot of referees back in the day took. You start in juniors, you work your way up to minor pro. And then, eventually, if all things fall right, you make the jump to the National Hockey League and you last more than a week like I did. Now it's at least with the referees, it's different because guys aren't doing that path. They're getting put right in.
Well, I think they're getting put right in after a certain level. You don't have to go to the East Coast League so much. But they don't work well if they get promoted from junior hockey right to the American League, like you're saying, Mark. But if they don't work well there, they fall out right away. It's not like they're getting stuff they're not entitled to. If they can't work at that level, they're demoted immediately. So I don't mind that problem. I like the old system better, going to work in the Western Hockey League and cutting your teeth there. But what they're doing works, I think.
Yeah, that's where I met Glenn Gully. He was in Vegas. I worked the West in the East Coast League. I lived out in California for a season, and those guys beat the shit out of each other night in, night out. And then you go out to the East, and on a Wednesday night skate, and then they decide to play the last 5 minutes. But those guys out West, they took it. It was a different style of play, and they were out for blood every night. It was a lot of fun. You learned a lot too.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot different.
Yes.
Yeah, that was down south when the Coast League was only on the coast, the East Coast when I was there a long time ago. And the South was like Rock'em Sock'em. The East was kind of like a mix between skating and physical play. And then the North was all skating. So when you had a North team play the South, it was like they got the shit beat out of them. One of our good friends of the podcast said to say hi, Graham Townsend.
Graham Townsend, what a great guy. Is he still in Maine?
Yes.
Yeah, still in Maine, still running the hockey school, Townsend Hockey, and we see him a lot with the Bruins alumni. He came on, just a great guest, just an awesome guy.
He is a great guy. Tell him I said hello, please.
I will. He when I talked to him today, and he was like, "Oh, you got to tell Burke I said hi." So wanted to make sure I did that.
Thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Well, Brian, it's been an honor to have you on. Just great stuff. We're so happy that you were able to join us.
Thank you. I want to tell a quick story about Frank Simonetti, since he's the reason I'm talking to you guys.
Yes, we'd love that.
Absolutely.
Wife worked for the phone company, and Frank Simonetti, his dad worked for the phone company. He said, "My son plays at St. Norbert's," and he said, "You think you could come up and take a look at him?" So my first wife said to me, "I'd really like you to do this." So we drove up and watched them play. I'm thinking, I just wasted 4 hours of my life I'll never get back. Drove back after the game, got 3:00 in the morning, and drove back to Canton, Mass. And went to watch Frank Simonetti play, and I said, "This guy can play." So I signed him as a client, and he played, I don't know, close to 200 games in the show.
Awesome.
Yeah, he
Good
played
guy.
4 years. It's funny because he told us when we were down in Virginia Beach doing a thing with the SEALs, he had mentioned, he said, "Well, Brian Burke was my first agent." Josh and I were both like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, maybe he'd come on the podcast." We were both like, "What?"
Yeah.
Frank's one of the best guys, and he's a huge fan of us. Like he's been on a couple times, and just talk about a great guy. I mean, you won't find many better.
No, I agree. Wonderful guy. Played well for the Bruins for a couple years. They always had one guy like him, or two guys, usually a forward and a D, on swing guys who were in and out of. They were really good, serviceable players. And Harrison kept the books balanced by having one or two guys around on the cheap.
It's funny because the Bruins and Mass have had a few guys like that. Johnny Carter was like that. Andy Brickley. They were both kind of like those local guys that no one gave a shot to, but they were, incredible players.
Yep, exactly. But that's how they made the money work. A couple swing guys.
There you go.
But great stuff.
Great. And that's a great painting. I love that painting behind it.
I was the Grand Marshal of the St. Patrick's Day Parade a couple years ago in Toronto, and that gentleman did that painting. I should know his name, and I can't think of it, but he was making fun of my tie.
I was going to say the signature tie.
I love
Yes.
it.
The Hartford, and that's a Morgan Riley Pride sweater there.
Very cool.
Awesome.
I was a little disappointed you didn't have the tie undone.
I have no time when I'm not working. When I'm working, I have the tie on. Going to the Leafs game tonight, I'll have the tie on.
Very good.
Right on. Right on.
Call it the Burke knot when it just drapes.
Well, appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Well, Brian Burke, I mean, like we said in the intro, just an amazing guy with such great stories and such a great history in the game.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was going to, I had the thought I wanted to put on a white dress shirt and a tie draped over, like untied like he does, but I thought that was too much.
Yeah, I thought about that too.
I did too.
We should have all did it. We would have looked like clowns. Look at these losers.
He would have shit all over us for sure.
But we're working. He wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We were
Just say he doesn't wear the tie or somewhat wear the tie when he's not working.
Yeah. Still wears the shirt. I feel like he sleeps in a white collared shirt too.
Oh, he dresses. I mean, he's a good dresser with some great lettuce.
Oh,
I mean, his lettuce over the years has been
amazing stories. I feel like we got to 1% of what we wanted to get to.
He's definitely a guy that, and like he said, he'd do it again. Just the amount of not only his stories, but the amount of knowledge he has about the game and the insight. And I found his when we asked about the Mount Rushmore, it was interesting.
Yeah,
his list was very interesting. No Gretzky, no Orr, no Lemieux. It was he brought up some names that definitely can be in the conversation. I mean, Teemu Selanne, he was the Finnish Flash.
Yeah,
Loved watching him play.
He's
all your perspective. I love that Mount Rushmore. I was kind of getting sick of the question, but then when he answered it, I was like, oh, here comes Orr, like he started out with Sidney. I go, all right, here comes Gretzky, here comes Orr, but he was like, nope, Teemu. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
my ears perked up there too. I was like, really?
And throwing in Chris Pronger.
Enough was awesome, man.
And the D, like just a really cool, and he's seen the game and those players from a different angle than everyone.
Yeah,
Right.
So I thought that was really cool. His Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, that was good. That'll get some good clips.
Oh, definitely. So, well, that's going to wrap it. Episode 100. Boys, we made the century mark.
It flew by.
Right?
It seems like we were just discussing what we should call it.
Right? And I'll tell you what, I'm glad I called DraftKings and put the over on the number of episodes we were going to have.
Right? we gotta put that original episode out that we did here in this room. Like right as I was moving in, it was a shit show. It never saw the light of day. But we maybe we could put some clips
Gino and I on the couch. Remember that?
Yeah, what do they call it? Your
It was
what's
our
your
pilot.
first episode? Your pilot. There you go.
the pilot.
Your pilot episode.
Your dog was barking.
Oh yeah,
We drove like an hour and a half. Felt like I'm like, I'm not doing this every week.
Yeah, Gino immediately said, we're finding somewhere else to do this.
Yeah, now we drive to Beverly.
Now we go to Beverly.
Yeah, we quit that too.
Their couch is way nicer than yours, though, Josh. I'm sorry.
You know.
You know who has some nice couches? It's Harmon Golf.
Yes.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Harmon Golf has some great couches. We'll do some more there for sure.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, I would. I'd pull the trigger. Well, it's been a great 100 episodes, and we're looking forward to another 100 or more. And we have some
stopping. We're just getting warmed up,
and we had some great guests coming up. So definitely stay tuned. Yeah, the list is pretty impressive. So we're gonna have some really good stuff coming up. So that's gonna do it. Episode 100. Want to thank our sponsors, the Referees Crease and Damon Financial LLC. Also want to remind you to like and subscribe on YouTube. Find us on the social medias, the Instagram, the Facebook, and of course
The TikTok.
Thank you, Gino.
And if Netflix wants to get us on there, let us know. You know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they got Barstool on there. Chirping Zebras next. Why not?
Why not? I say that's going to happen. I'm putting my money on that this year. It's the year of the zebra, by the way, on the Chinese calendar.
Yes. Don't look it up. But
It's the year of the horse. But zebra's a horse just
that's
with a fucking
zebra
ref shirt
adjacent.
on.
With stripes.
Yeah. A horse with a ref shirt on. That's all the zebra is.
That's all it is.
We'll take it. We got a lot of stuff coming up. The St. Patrick's Day parade. We got to get our float ready.
Our float ready?
We're
We
putting
have
a
a
float.
float? Do we have a spot?
Yeah, we got a float. We're going to go in.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
we could do some things with that.
Yep.
Riley's going to tell jokes on the back of an Irish car.
We're gonna get a bagpiper. We're gonna have all kinds of stuff. No, we are. We're gonna have 2 live zebras, going down the street in front of us. Gino
do you
knows
know
the
what-
guy.
Yeah,
Gino
I
has
was
a
going
guy.
to say, do you guys know a guy in Southie that deals in exotic?
Gino knows a guy. We can get a couple out of a zoo, so no
Oh,
worries.
perfect. If not, we can get a white horse and paint it. So
Well, either way. All right. Well, so that's gonna do it. Again, find us on social medias. Check out chirpingzebras.com for all your information and get your merch on chirpingzebras.com. For Josh Dolan, for Gino Binder Jr., I'm Mark Riley saying so long from episode 100. We'll see you next time right here on the Chirping Zebras.